Welcome to the video. My name is Rachel. Today I'm going to share with you my life story, which is really sad, so just prepare yourself. So I guess it starts with my grandparents, which I don't know much about them, except for my mom's dad lived in Minnesota. Is it Minnesota or North Dakota? Something like that. But I don't know much about my grandparents. But my dad was born somewhere in California. Why couldn't they have just stayed in California? I don't know if it was the military that made him come out. But I remember my grandma saying that she thought it was too crowded in California. Like, I would not have left it probably. Why would you want to leave it? But she lives in Tennessee now, my grandma. In Knoxville, Tennessee. I would definitely want to live like in Los Angeles or something. But anyways, my mom, she was born somewhere in Minnesota, I believe, by Lake Superior. So she was almost born in like Canada almost. But so both of my parents, they had me in their early 20s. They were like probably around 22 or something like that. And they're close to the same age of each other. And they were both in the military when they had me. Go figure, right? Of course, that's why I'm in Fayetteville. Because they were in the military and now I'm like just here now. And so I was born in Germany because they're in the military, and I guess my dad wanted to go there or something. But so my dad was driving. Well, now he drives a truck, but when my mom was in the military, she would drive like huge trucks, like the 18-wheelers, I think. Maybe, probably not the 18-wheelers, but I don't know. I wasn't there. I mean, I don't think I was there, except for like later on or whatever. But so I was born in Germany, and I think my dad only lived there for like 4 years. Well, I guess both of them lived there for 4 years. But of course I was like 2 years old when they left, so I didn't really get to experience it. Just my luck, right? But I was born in Nuremberg, Bavaria, Germany, and then I don't exactly know everywhere they went because I was too young to remember where they went. But I guess when they got out the military, they went to visit my mom's dad before he died back in Minnesota. And because I took like a photo with him, and I was with him for maybe a couple months or so, I'm not for sure. And he had a farm in Minnesota, but supposedly he made good money with it. But his new wife that he got, I guess when he died, she got everything. And of course my mom got nothing. Just my luck, right? And so when my parents got out of the military, my mom was working at Pizza Hut. Just my luck, right? And my dad, I think when he was in the military, I know he jumped out of planes, and I think he worked on like some type of power lines for telephones or something. He might have done other stuff. I'm not sure exactly what all he did. But then when he got out the military, now he's a truck driver, of course. So I never get to see him. And I barely ever get to see my mom. She lives kind of close to me, like a couple miles from me. But we're both usually always working, of course. Those dang reptilians always making us work. But sometimes I'll see her. So I think they lived, when I was a kid when they were in the military, we lived in somewhere in Tennessee. It wasn't Knoxville, it was some other part in Tennessee for a little bit. They had a house. But my mom is like really freaking nuts. I don't know how they got together. I guess my dad thought she was hot. I guess. That's about all I guess he's seen in her. But because he said she barely made it into the military. And of course they got divorced. My mom was saying that he used to spend the money, like a lot of it. and she would get mad at him spending money. Because I remember he had a Camaro. That thing was probably not cheap. I think it was a Camaro, something like that. Back in when I was a little kid, that thing was probably expensive. I'm not for sure, but I remember she'd always get mad at him. Of course, just my luck. At least it didn't break. But she'd always be yelling at him, right? So of course they got divorced. Of course. Like who stays married together anymore? Like probably nobody. Almost everybody gets divorced. So that's some crazy stuff. But so now my mom, she works at the hog plant. My dad's a truck driver. And I don't eat meat, but my mom works at the hog plant. She hates working there. But my mom was like abusive, and my dad made me watch the Puppet Master movies when I was a kid, and he thought it was funny to scare me. So my dolls, I would be scared that my dolls would come alive and kill me. Now that's messed up. Like a little 6-year-old or something. Like who does that to their kid? Make them watch a scary movie, make their dolls are gonna come alive, and then laugh about it because the kids have nightmares and can't sleep. Like, it just blows my mind how people are. I think definitely the reptilians control the world. I'm like 1000% sure of that. Of the bad cards that have been handed to me. I've been handed lots of bad cards in my life. So there's something evil controlling this world. Something very, very evil. It's mind-blowing. But so when I was a kid, thank God, my dad taught me how to use computers a little, back in like the 90s, like the mid 90s or whatever. But, so he would play games like Command and Conquer and like different computer games, right? And he would like let me watch and let me play with him. And that's all we really did together, is like maybe watch movies and play games. And I remember if I like wanted something from the store, if I ever went with my dad, he'd always tell me no. Like, that's so cruel. Like, who? I'm not having no kids, no way. But if there was a kid with me and they said, "Can I have this toy?" I'd be like, "Yeah, you can have this toy." I wouldn't be like, "No, no, no, you can't have nothing." Nah. It's crazy. Like, kids should be allowed to have some toys, you know? Like, I don't know. Like, I think if people have kids, they should have a lot of money. I'm talking a lot of money. If you're just barely getting by and you have kids, I don't even know how you're doing it. Good job, whatever, but anyways. So of course, when they broke up, I think I was like, how old was I? Like 7 or 8? I'm not for sure. I was like a little kid, just like most people usually. But then he met another woman. I'm not gonna be like mean or anything because they're probably watching me. So I'm just gonna like be good about the whole thing. I'm not gonna bash anybody in, you know. But my dad, he made me and my mom live with this lady named Naomi that he knew. He knew Naomi's husband from the military. So Naomi, of course, was divorced from him. And then, so me and my mom lived in Naomi for like maybe 2 or 3 years. And then my mom was like really abusive, right? It's the reptilians. They control this world and they drive us crazy because money is so evil. Because people will literally like kill for money and like do anything for money. It's really disturbing about money. Like, oh, I wish we could get rid of it one day. But not have those chips in our arm. So that would be really dumb to have the chips in our arm. I mean, some people have it, but. And so basically, I lived with my dad's future new wife. And I think I lived with her for maybe about age 9. I was like 8 turning 9 when we lived together. And then she had a daughter with someone else before my dad. And so I lived with them for about like 8, 9, 10, 11. like 6 or 7 years. I was like 14 or 15 when I left. I thought it was 14. She thought it was 15 when I left, but I don't know. I was definitely not treated right. I don't think so, no. But my dad, he'd always be like, everything she says, you go by what she says. Like my way or the highway, every little thing. And I don't know, it's just really cruel how like everybody treated me. Because they knew my mom didn't give a fuck about me. Because my real mom, she was like really mean. And she didn't care. It's just, my life has been really wild. Then my mom pulled out an actual knife on my dad when my dad tried to talk to her. And then my stepmom, she stole me away from my real mom because my real mom was abusive. And my real mom would always stand me up when I talked to her on the phone after, I was stolen away. I would say, let's go like hang out, or she would say, let's go hang out, like go to the mall, or go somewhere and go shopping, and let's go get something to eat together. And she'd always stand me up when I was a kid. Ain't that cruel? Like, who does that? I remember one time my mom, she dressed me up in a clown costume, and it looked so retarded. Like, I didn't want that costume. Like, why would you get me a costume I don't want to wear for Halloween? For Halloween when I was a kid. And she made me go to like the same houses over and over. She didn't even walk with me. She just like was in her car creeping on the side of the road like a creeper. And then the people were like, weren't you just here getting candy? And I was like, nah. Because my mom was just like, oh, just go here again. It'll be okay. She is so nuts. And my parents, they would leave me home alone while they were at work because they didn't have time to raise me. They didn't know what they were doing. They were like in their early 20s. They didn't have no real career. They had just started out in the military. They didn't know what they were going to do with their life. My dad said he wanted to be an electrician, but he never did, so he's just been a truck driver this whole time after the military. And then my mom, I guess, just does shitty jobs. Like, first it was the Pizza Hut, then it was, I don't know where all she worked at. I can't remember. But I remember she worked at Maidenform, and like, Maidenform is a bra and panty company. And I guess they like worked in the shipping department, shipping the bra and underwear out. And then that company got bought out by Hanes. So then they let her go because they let a lot of people go. So now she works at the Smithville Hog Plant, and she hates that job. She works in the shipping department there. I guess because she's had so much experience working in the shipping department at Maidenform. Yep. And we had to go to the unemployment office because my mom does not have a computer and she doesn't know how to work a computer and she's scared of computers. Total opposite of my dad. He knows how to work computers and he loves computers and he reads all about them. Blah, 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 blah. But I don't know how they got together. They are totally different people. Woo! That just blows my mind because all my mom did was scream, 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 scream. And like on Fridays when they had spelling tests at school, and my mom, she would try to teach me how to spell the words, right? If I got the words wrong, okay, she'd be pulling my hair on the back of my head and being like, you better get these words right. And if I didn't get the words right, she would just like keep yelling at me and pulling my hair. I'm like, that's insane. And she was like, ugh. She was abusive, like sexually. Like, she's just crazy, man. I don't know how he got with her. It's like disturbing. And I think the reason why my dad doesn't give a fuck about me and he didn't never financially helped me like to get on my feet and to survive, because what's really messed up, you know how like there's different types of Indians, like Cherokee and I think Lumbee and some other types of Indians, when they turn 18 and they graduate school, supposedly they get like $100,000 from the government. What? So when I graduated, I get nothing. I'm just supposed to. I mean, I think it's really messed up that parents are able to, when a kid turns 18, guess what their parents can do? They can just kick them out on the street with no money, no nothing. They can just flat out kick them out if they want. That's insane. With no money? Like this, that means this world is definitely controlled by some type of demonic reptilians if the society is not even able to function properly as a decent, normal society that should be happy and healthy and thriving and not suffering and stuff like that. It's crazy. But that's, see, my stepmom, she made me live with my grandma when I was about 14 or 15. And that's messed up. Sorry, I had to sneeze. And So I lived with my grandma. I think I was like 15, like maybe 2 or 3 years. It sucked. I did not want to live with her. And my stepmom knows that. That's why she made me live with her, because I did not want to go there. But see, me and my stepmom, I was wanting to be more like a teenager and wear makeup and do my eyebrows and wear clothes I want to wear and, just be how I want to be. But no, she wanted to control every aspect of my life or else she would get mad. No, I'm talking about she would set my clothes out the day before for school when I was like in middle and high school. Set my clothes out for me of what she wanted me to wear. And if I did not wear the clothes that she picked out for me, she would start screaming and hitting me. Like, what? I should be allowed to wear what clothes I want to wear. See, she was being over controlative, but my dad, he was always a truck driver, so he would always be out on the road, so he would never get to see what happened. And so as soon as he would come home from work, everything would be nice and calm and happy and normal, right? And as soon as he walked in the door, my stepmom would start screaming at me. I don't know how she even came up with something to scream about. Somehow she came up with something to scream about, and she would just start screaming. And I don't think she cares about my dad, because if she did care about my dad, she would have treated me good. Because I am a part of him. So if I'm a part of him and she doesn't treat me right, that means she don't really love my dad. She is just with him so she can use him and take his money so she doesn't have to work. And they had 2 kids together. And they were partially deaf, and I think it's due to the chemicals from when my dad was in the Gulf War. That's a possibility. Not 100% sure why. But I'm glad he had me before he went to the Gulf War. And so when I lived with my grandma, when I was about like 16 or 17, I wanted to make some money. Like I wouldn't get no freaking money. Like, oh my gosh. You want to get some money, man. So then I worked at different fast food jobs, of course, because they were down the street from where we lived. And so I worked at Hardee's and Subway. Oh, and my grandma made me work she made me work at McDonald's, where she worked at Walmart. She was a cashier. And she wanted me to loiter at Walmart all day and think I'm going to sit there in the gardening section on one of those little rocking chairs and sit there and make little arts and crafts stuff of like sewing, like little things together. Like, I'm not going to sit there all day and do that. So I would sneak off. But anyways, it was just too boring to sit there all day long doing that. It's crazy. And my grandma had no car, and my grandma was on food stamps, and I don't even know how my grandma was even surviving by herself, and yet somehow my stepmom made me live with my grandma, my dad's mom. That's messed up. And I hope karma gets every one of y'all, because y'all treated me bad, and y'all act like I am like invisible, like I'm nothing, like I don't even matter. And it's just messed up how I've been done by them. Like I'm supposed to just magically grow money out of my ear to survive. But when I was living with my grandma, she did like a Jedi mind trick thing. She's like, I bet you don't have a boyfriend to live with. I'm like, I have a boyfriend. So I moved in with this one guy that I knew from my uncle. It was his friend. And I lived with him for like 4 years. Ugh. And that was in Knoxville, Tennessee. So I lived in Knoxville, Tennessee for like 7 years. Ugh. It was okay, I guess. But now I'm back here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is a military town, of course. Why couldn't they just stayed in freaking California? That's where it's at, probably. Probably not North Carolina. I mean, it's okay here, I guess. Probably better than, I guess, Alaska, right? But when I moved out for my grandma, I wasn't even 18 yet. I was like 17, a couple weeks away from turning 18, but my grandma was such a witch. I had to get out of there. She was mean. She was gross. And she would sit with her legs wide open and you could see her hairs down there. And she was in the living room reading like a book. And I'm like, Grandma, close your legs. And she's like, don't look. And I'm thinking, what the? And she would, oh God. She would do the fart and walk thing. Farting and walking. She would overcook the cauliflower to where the cauliflower was like pure liquidy mush and it smelled like rotten dead feet or something. Ugh, it was terrifying. And then when I was on the back of a bus, I was like 16 years old, and this lady, she offered me a little alcohol thingy, like those little shot ones you get at the ABC store. She's like, you want a sip of these? And I'm like, no. What? Someone could have like killed me or something. Then I seen the lady, she was smoking a cigarette, sitting on her head in Indian style, sitting on her head smoking a rolled up cigarette that she rolled herself. I think she died though. That was the weirdest thing. That was really weird. I seen that downtown when I was at Knoxville. I wish my hair would just like go like that. But I don't know how I'm like sane. Wait, I'm probably not sane. But I don't know how I'm like actually kind of doing good now. Like what? I guess because I've been through so much traumatic experiences. But anyways, okay, so when I was 20, I lived with that one guy, that first guy, till I was like 22. And then at 22, then I made him leave because he was freaking me out, man. He was like reading some weird books. It was like he was reading like the satanic books and like thinking, that guy, I gotta get away from him. So he was getting too freaky and weird. So I made him leave. And then I was living by myself for like 10 months. And it sucked because I had no car. And I was working at Arby's as a cashier for like 6 years, I think. It was a nightmare working at Arby's. I did not like it. It was no fun. It was a nightmare. And then I called my stepmom and I came back home because I had no car and I was barely even supporting myself. I don't even know how I didn't even have enough money to barely pay the bills. Just barely had enough. Well, I would have had like maybe an extra $20 or $50 a month. Wow, I could do a whole lot with that. Yeah, no, I was tired of that. So I asked if I could come back home. So I came back home, and when I was 22, and I stayed living with my dad and well, of course, my dad's always on the road as a truck driver, so I didn't never really seen him. So I'd always be with my stepmom, and that was not the funnest experience at all. But I won't go into detail about it because they'll probably be like, oh my gosh. So I'll just leave it as that, right? Right. So, after I lived with them for like 10 months, then I went to Job Corps because I was like, how can I get out of here? I want to be on my own. So I was like, okay, let's do CNA at Job Corps. That sounds like I might be able to do that, right? That might be easy. No, CNA is for big people. Big, tall people with muscles. Not short, little, scrawny people like me. I'm only like 5'1". Those old people, they don't trust little people. You gotta have a big, tall person. Trust me. You don't want no little person picking you up. You want some dude or something picking you up, to move you around the bed or whatever. But you know what I mean. But anyways. So, my parents, they had nothing planned for my future at all. They had nothing planned. They didn't plan to help me get a car. They didn't plan to help me get a place. They didn't plan to help me find a job. They didn't plan to help me do jack shit squat. Because you know what? They didn't care about me. They had me by accident. They both told me they had me by accident. My dad told me they had me by accident when I was like maybe 6 or 7 years old. And he said it with all seriousness, just like how I'm looking at you right now, with all seriousness. And my mom was dead serious too when I was living with her, like maybe 5 years ago or so. I only lived with her for maybe like about 10 months as well. And then I got the 2 jobs, the Fayetteville Observer and Walmart, and then I got out of there because she was living in this little tiny trailer and it was a total, complete nightmare. I was sleeping on the floor. No AC. No heat, except for the gasoline heats that you put the gasoline in it, which turns the walls black and it could easily explode or something. Oh my goodness. So after my parents separated, my mom never lived with another man again. But I'm not like that. I'll keep living with guys, I guess, cuz I don't want to live alone and I need help. Like I can't with the amount of money I make, I don't make enough to live on my own. I need someone to help me. So, the first guy I lived with was 4 years. Then the other guy, there's like 4 guys I think I lived with. It was Mark first. I lived with John. Okay, then I lived with Dakota after I got out of Job Corps. And I think he was a jerk because one time I made a turkey for Thanksgiving and he did not eat it. Now that's shady. He was mean. And then there's this young kid, like 16 years old, 15 or 16, and Dakota was like 22, and he was letting him come over our place and be bad, and skip school, and he was making straight A's, and when he was hanging out with Dakota, he was starting to make F's. And his parents was actually letting him fail and letting him come over and hang out. It was a nightmare. All my relationships are pretty much toxic because my life has been toxic ever since the beginning. Even when I first came out the dang womb, the doctor smacked my butt because I was quiet. When I came out, I was like, like, seemed like I was dead or something, so he smacked my butt. And I started screaming, and my mom said, I kept on screaming a long time. Days, weeks, months, always screaming. So you can bet my mom was probably abusive to me when I was a baby. She always talked about how she'd leave me in the crib crying. So she probably just let me cry in the crib until I cried myself to sleep, probably lots of times. But they would leave me home alone while they were working because they didn't have time to raise me because we have demonic reptilians controlling this world. They're not going to make it easy for us to be able to survive and have a great life. No, the reptilians are going to make our lives as difficult as possible to live. Very difficult. It's a miracle that I'm even alive, that you're even alive. It's a freaking miracle. You know what I mean. But, so, at Job Corps, I was there for like 3 years, I think. Something like that. I was 22 when I went into it. And I flew a plane, and that was scary. Planes, I don't like it. The wing was flapping. It was really scary. And I went to Cherokee, North Carolina, then I went to another one in Massachusetts. The Cherokee one was for CNA, and then you can also go to another advanced training if you want. Heck, I was trying to buy time so I didn't have to go back into the real world. I ain't gonna lie. I did not want to go back into the real world because I knew I ain't got no money, I ain't got nothing. The real world seems like a very scary place. That's because it is a very scary place and everything's out to eat you. Haha. Okay, that was creepy, right? But anyways, when I was at the Massachusetts Job Corps, I went there for early childhood development. I think I did it because that sounds easy. Like as a class, that's easy. It was easy. When I got out of Job Corps from the Massachusetts, I moved in with Dakota that I met from the first Job Corps from Cherokee. And lived with him for a year. Then I called my real mom that I hadn't seen since I was a little kid, since I was 8 or 9 years old. And then I moved in with my real mom and lived with her for about 10 months. And then I got the 2 jobs that I had, which is the Fayetteville Observer's inserter, and then I got the job that I have now at Walmart. And then I worked at both the jobs for 2 years, and it was terrible. I didn't hardly get no sleep. And it was too much wear and tear on my body. And I didn't hardly have no days off of work. Oh, hardly no pay. Oh my gosh. So I quit the Fayetteville Observer now. I just work at the Walmart, which I'll probably be stuck at Walmart for the rest of my life. Do you feel my pain? May God have mercy on my soul, right? I know. But anyways. But that's pretty much where I'm at now. I live with a guy named Aaron. But first I lived with Mark for 4 years. Then I lived with Dakota for a year. Then I lived with a guy named John for about a year. And now I live with a guy named Aaron. And I've lived with him for like 2.5 years. Something like that. But I don't want to live with my mom no more. Oh my gosh, the trailer she lived in was just terrible. But that's pretty much the main gist of it, right? Pretty much my parents left me no money, no help hardly. Like, what? My mom did not help me get a car till I was living with her. After, when I was like 25 or 26 or something like that. Something like that. This little old 2004 Kia Rio, which I'll probably be driving around for till it falls apart, until I can't drive it no more. Because I don't have money like that to make car payments. Nah, I barely make enough to survive. But maybe hopefully one day I'll make it on YouTube. Just my luck. I'll get to 1,000 subscribers and they'll say, now you need 1 million subscribers. That would be just my luck. I hope that doesn't happen. Please don't change it even more. Make it even more difficult. Like, what? Just make it. No, don't change it. But now I gotta go to sleep so I can go work at Walmart from 2 p.m. to 11. Wow. So I only have just barely enough time to get a little bit of sleep. Isn't that great? It's lovely. But pretty much my dad, he gives all his money to his wife and their 2 kids that they had, and I get nothing at all. While she hasn't worked in a long time, his wife, because she raises their 2 kids. Which I think he should have been, my dad should have been helping me financially, not creating a new family and then just forgetting about me. That's super cruel. That's beyond cruel. Like, not even caring if I die or something. They don't care. Because this is a world controlled by the reptilians, where everybody's out for themselves to get all the money we can get. Because the reptilians want pretty much just money on our mind. But money's evil. It's super evil. That's why we need to go into the Venus Project. Venus Project. Go look it up. And I remember my mom named Cindy, well, Lucinda is her name. She fed me cat food. Like the cat wet food tuna in a can. She lied to me. She's a compulsive liar. For real. And she's like, oh, this is regular people's tuna. Why don't you try it? I'm like, okay. I was like, is this cat food? She's like, no, it's not cat food. And so I try it, and it's cat food. And guess what my mom does? She laughs at me while I'm eating a piece of cat food. She's sick and twisted and demented, and my dad put her in a mental home, and she lived there for a month. And my dad said that she liked it there because it gave her something to do. Oh my gosh. Do you feel my pain? Do you feel my pain? I really need to sing in a video for real, because I could sing like a little bit. If I were to practice, I could actually be really good at it if I actually really practiced it. But it's kind of hard to practice when I have to go to sleep so I can go work at Walmart. Maybe on my day off, which is like days from now. Or maybe sometime soon, you know. And then I remember my dad, we had this black cat, and he put a jalapeno in the cat's mouth. He forced the jalapeno in the cat's mouth, so the cat was foaming at the mouth. The cat was freaking out, and my dad, he probably just thought it was funny. That is sick, ain't it? Oh, man. So now I feel like I pretty much have to work at Walmart because I'm really tiny. Like, I look like I'm 12 or 13 years old. A good paying job, you gotta go to college for. I don't have college. And I don't have time to sit there, go to college, and wait till I can finally get paid. No, I need to get paid now, not freaking 10 or 20 years from now, you know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty much stuck at Walmart. Even when I applied at Target and at Subway, they didn't even hire me at Target or Subway. Isn't that crazy? You know, when you get hired at Walmart, you got the job. You got the job when you're hired at Walmart. But obviously, Target and Subway, they're very picky. I guess if you look like a normal person, they don't want you. I guess you have to look like some kind of supermodel or something. I don't know what they didn't even tell me what they wanted out of a person. Like, they didn't even tell me why they wouldn't hire me. They're just like, well, Subway was like, yeah, whatever, we'll call you if we need you. You know, how jobs can just brush you to the side like you're nothing. It's crazy. But pretty much, now that's where my story's at right now. I'm at Walmart, and I'm really wishing I could make it off of YouTube. Right? Yeah, go ahead. Laugh it up. Laugh it up. I know. So I just have to keep working hard on my YouTube channel. And maybe one day when I'm like 100 years old, maybe I'll finally make my first paycheck. That's sad. But anyways. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. And when my parents made me live with my grandma, they did not even call me to check on me to see if I was doing okay. They just dropped me off at my grandma's, and I did not hear that from them. I can't remember if I called them. It was most likely me calling them because they don't care about me. They don't care. I know they don't. My dad might care about me just a tiny speck. He cares about me just enough to answer the phone when I call. That's about it. That is sad. I really wish they would have put me up for adoption if they knew they couldn't take care of me. They were definitely not ready to have me. And it's just a shame how my life has been to put together, you know. Just a shame. Hopefully, I think it'll start to get better after a while, I hope, if I really, really work hard at my YouTube channel. Because there's really no other careers that I want to do. They all seem like they take forever to go to school for. That either I'm going to be paying a bunch of money and then getting stuck with not finding a job for the career that I'm trying to do. And then you got to fight all the other people that's trying to get the same job. It's like, and someone always usually gets the job before you. I'm like, what in the world? But pretty much to get a good job in Fayetteville, or pretty much any job, usually it's who you know for the most part. And if you don't know anybody, good luck getting the job. And my mom always talks about how most of all the jobs that she's had, all they've done is threaten her, threaten to fire her, and really like harass her and boss her around and like be mean and stuff. And that's pretty much what most of the jobs are like. You don't do what they say, you're gone. Now on my YouTube channel here, I made it to $50.58. I was halfway there to my first check. Because every time you reach $100, YouTube sends you a check in the mail for $100. That's so messed up. I made it halfway there, but now I'm halfway there to 1,000 subscribers. So if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you very much. And I'll just have to keep trying and trying and trying and trying and trying till hopefully one day I get it, right? Because that's all I could do is try, right? Right. But I better go to sleep now, so I can wake up and go work at Walmart from 2 to 11, and then think of another video to make, and get just barely enough sleep for the next day. Woohoo! And then the cycle continues. The cycle of life. So you guys, or girls, have a wonderful day. Please subscribe to my channel and push the like button. Don't forget to push the bell notification button so you can always be notified when new videos come out. And thank you for watching. Bye!